So, what do you want to talk about? Oh, shit.
You already know what I want to talk about.
Drinking, I'm drinking.
Water. Yes.
That's all I have too. Figured yours was gin and juice.
No.
All right.
I want to talk about lots of different stuff, Dad. I think the first thing that I would want to talk about if I got my choice today is why you haven't gotten on the gold train yet.
You mean precious metals gold?
Precious metals, yeah.
I have long never understood why somebody wants to put so much value into a rock.
Okay. Why do you put so much
You
value
asked
into
me
a
a
piece
question.
of paper?
You,
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
This is me instantly going
Yeah.
on the assault
So-
because I have an ideology. This is not an intellectual discussion.
But you're
Dad, I'm
asking
shoving my
for my
ideology.
opinion
Yes.
about why I have not joined the gold train.
Yeah.
And the short answer is the reason everybody says to get on the gold train is in case of the apocalypse and in case of
No.
Armageddon or whatever it is. It's a hedge against all
No.
things bad. Well, all things bad, the worst all things bad is nuclear war, right?
Yeah.
Something, right? The whole world's just all screwed up. Banking systems collapsed. Everything's
That
collapsed.
might be worse.
So now you're sitting around and hopefully you can get to your gold, right? If you have it in a vault and with some company, you don't have it.
Yeah.
So if you have it yourself and
Which I've
you
never
dug your hole in the
advocated for that
backyard or
anyways.
you went out in the desert and pasted off from this cactus plant or whatever and you know where it is, fine, you pick it up. And now you walk over to somebody who has eggs because you need eggs. What are you going to do? Get your knife out and shave off a few things of gold? And
Yeah.
the person goes, yay, I've got gold. But
Yeah.
I just gave away my food. So now I'm
That's
going to
not
die.
how the economy works. They're not gonna start selling their eggs in the first place unless they have an abundance of eggs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But it's a unit of exchange. So why then do you keep dollar bills?
I don't keep dollar bills.
You have dollars in your bank account.
No,
don't
I
you?
give them to your mother and she spends them. I don't have anything.
No, but okay, but you have hypothetically before Mom spends it,
Right.
you have dollars. You don't
Right.
keep it in gold. You don't
Right.
keep it in,
None of my clients and the GSR, none of them pay me in gold. So they pay me in U.S.
Yeah.
currency. That's
They could though.
currently,
They could pay you in gold.
Why
not? You
because
can go down.
It's,
You can
because
go
it's an effort for them. The best the GSR will do is I think they might actually issue Visa cards or whatever, or debit cards.
I agree it's an effort for them, but it's only an effort because it's imposed. It's not like gold couldn't be that unit of exchange. It's just that they're choosing to use dollar bills instead.
It's super easy and everybody understands it. If I went,
Do
if
they
I-
understand
if-
it though?
Okay, hold on. If I
Because
went
they
to,
print it all the time,
if
and
I went,
people just act like, oh, it's the same. It's worth the same as
Okay.
it was yesterday.
if I went to the Grand Sierra Resort where I'm dealing poker and I say,
Mhm.
hey, I would like my paychecks in the future to be handed to me in little bags, little burlap sacks of gold dust each
Gold
week.
dust. Oh, come on,
Well,
get it
I
refined.
don't think I make enough to get a nugget, so
What?
I don't know.
Yeah, Dad, that's the thing. I don't think you realize like how valuable gold is. Just a little tiny bit of it's worth like $50. Like,
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you think I make dealing poker, but it's not that much.
No, I know, but what I'm saying
So,
is you could end up
if I
with
get
3
paid
bars of gold
weekly-
at the end of the night.
How much?
3 bars of gold.
3 bars?
Yeah, like 3. I'm talking about. Sorry, not when I say bars, I mean like
1 ounce?
a 1 gram like bullion coin, which is worth about $50, I believe.
$50 a gram? I don't know how much gold is. Per
Alexa,
gram.
how much is gold bullion spot price today? Oh
You didn't ask per gram. You're going to get it per ounce.
shit, you're right. I'm not gonna get it at all because I'm on. Alexa, hang up.
This kid.
Alexa, what is the spot price of gold today? Is it gonna get to gram?
No,
No.
I told you. You have to ask.
Fuck.
Do it
Now I've
again.
asked too many times. Now I'm embarrassed.
Alexa, what's the spot price of gold per gram?
Oh, that's actually surprising. I actually thought it would
Okay,
have been
so
more
$36
like $50.
per
How
gram.
much gold did I sell?
Okay,
then?
so let's say I make $50 in a night. Okay, and I work 5 nights or days, whatever. So it's about $150. Do you think that the Grand Sierra
But
Result is going to
you're
keep
saying
gold on
you're saying
premise
just
to
there
hand it to
you're
me?
hourly. Okay. My bad. I was thinking you were talking like all of your cumulative income from it. Like,
Well,
okay,
no, I get
sorry.
tips, but those are handed to
Sorry.
me in cash. Now, if you think that the players are going to keep little gold nuggets and flip one at me every time they
I
win a
keep
hand,
gold
they're
nuggets
not.
in my wallet, or used to. I don't really anymore. But
So every time you win a hand, you're going to flip me the equivalent of $1 US
No,
dollar of gold,
no, because gold is
because that's kind of
awesome. I
what the
don't want
players
anybody
do.
to have my gold. If I if I have cash, I'll trade it for gold though. If at any point in time someone had gold and I could verify it, I don't carry one of those little things on me, but if I did, I'd definitely trade my cash for gold. You know why?
Casinos
too?
have chips and U.S. currency.
What's
That's
that?
it.
Chips and U.S. currency?
Yeah.
That's all?
They don't keep gold. There's no gold in the bank, as we call it. In
Oh,
the poker
I
room.
know what you're saying. I'm just
And
saying that.
HR
I'm just saying that
And
like
payroll don't keep gold on premises.
no, but the reason, but I think you're like missing the point of gold, which is that I'm just saying that I'm not saying that it's easily acceptable in any place currently or anything like that. That's why it's obviously at a lower price. If it was the regular unit of exchange, it would be, you know,
Okay. So
worth-
post-apocalypse, let's say I have $1
I'm not saying
million of gold laying around.
But this isn't about the apocalypse, Dad. This is about money printing. If they're just gonna, you can't
Yeah.
print gold. You can't make more of it. So if it's already worth something today, if they're printing a bunch of dollars, it's gonna be worth more of those dollars tomorrow.
Okay, so, well then, if I wanted to, I could just invest in gold futures,
Yeah,
right?
You
to
could.
to the upside or the downside.
yeah,
There's a whole commodity market for gold.
yeah.
And I could participate that way
Well, I like.
and end up with many more U.S. dollars than the deflation of the dollar would be, or the inflation. Take your pick.
What I like about gold though is that it is a store of wealth. So it's like you buying a stock, but it's already it's just it is what it is. It's not gonna like change. It's not gonna get more assets. It's just gold. But
It's not true. It changes value every day.
no, I'm saying that like it's not like a company in that like a company can expand its assets and become worth more. I'm just saying that
Okay.
like gold is what it is.
Right.
But what I like about it is that it is a store of wealth. It's not, something that I would go trading around because I kind of want to have more of it. I mean, it's a great semiconductor. It's something that would be valuable in any society if we're gonna stay in an electronic world, and because it can be used as a semiconductor, and it's just a really good semiconductor. And it's just also, it's been appreciated for dozens of generations, thousands of generations. And I just think it embodies what money is to human beings for me.
You know that most Ethernet wire now is made of aluminum, and it's only copper clad.
I'm not saying that gold is used in everything. I would hope it wouldn't be. It's in such limited supply that also this is the other thing, Dad.
But you can make
There's just such a small. You can't make gold.
no, but you can make electronics with aluminum and copper and other metals. You don't
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
have gold.
I agree.
Gold is
Yeah.
gold is a super good conductor for
Yeah.
sure. But
And I guess all I'm saying is that I think scarcity inherently has in increasing value over time, especially if we are going to
Sure.
be increasing in population and everything. And I mean, there's an argument that there is no scarcity and the world's going to be a utopia. But if there is, on some level, I think that gold is a good bet because it's in such limited supply. And it's never going. There's never going to be more of it. I mean, as far as
what do you
I'm
mean
aware.
never more? They're still mining thousands of ounces
No, I know, but
a month, I think.
Well, the actual stockpile of gold is actually shockingly small. If you really, I think they say that it can fit in an Olympic-sized swimming pool if you had it all smelted into a bar.
No,
Let me look it up.
I think there's more of that than you think.
That's what I thought. That's
Again,
what I thought.
Uh,
Let's check it out. Let's see. What can we pull up here? I'm gonna do the dumb person way of Googling it first and try to just verify my own bias by saying, can all of the gold in the world fit into an Olympic size?
knock yourself out.
To see
kid.
what forum I get. So the first thing from Google is Yahoo saying that all the gold that's ever been mined would fit into a cube with edges 22 meters long, small enough to fit into 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Each year, miners and pawnbrokers add another 4,000 to 5,000 metric tons to an existing 197,576
How do
ton
pawnbrokers
pile.
add gold? They only get gold that's already been mined.
Yeah,
and
actually,
refined.
that doesn't really make sense. That's a good point. Maybe it's fake gold. Maybe those little testers are bullshit. I will say the dude, when I went to sell my gold, he tested it for like maybe a minute and then he gave me $1,000. So I think it's probably pretty
Hey Siri,
accurate.
what is the total volume of gold?
There's just lots of articles about the swimming pool. So apparently I'm not the only person that rang with. Miners and pawnbrokers. Well, it's mostly probably talking about miners, I assume.
244,000 metric tons.
244?
Yeah, there's 187,000 metric tons historically produced, plus the current underground reserves of about 57,000 that they know of.
That they know of, yeah. Well,
And then there's a shit ton of it in the ocean. The water itself contains gold, but refine it.
see, that's an argument that I am definitely open to against gold, because I haven't heard that before. And I definitely am, like I said, this is an ideology, this is a cult. But I do, from what the cult has indoctrinated me with, I have believed previously that is a pretty scarce thing that will always be pretty scarce.
Well, and that's fine.
And it makes you look baller.
I guess. I mean, the value, you're right. There's value in its appearance, which goes way back to historic times, right? The Aztecs and many other cultures of not prehistory, but in history, have valued gold because of its luster and its shine, and it is rare. And to figure out how to refine it back in the old days was difficult. So it was a difficult thing to make look shiny. And get it out of the ground or out of the rivers or wherever they got it from back then. But you can make lots of gold colored shiny things out of cheap. You can make it out of anodized plastic, for crying out loud, right? So the appeal of gold doesn't appeal to me. I don't care.
Yeah, but that's like assuming that it's
value-
just about the luster, right?
Okay. But remember also, every time you buy an ounce of gold and you sequester it, you put it in your safe or you bury it in the yard or whatever you do with it, that
You hoard.
is value that is not increasing in value. It's not increasing its intrinsic value. Whereas you can put $1 into a very basic savings account. You won't make much, but you're making something. Your dollar is working for you. But a dollar's worth of gold isn't working for you.
I ended up selling my gold for
gaining
more than I bought it
value
for.
in a down economy because the value of gold generally is goes up inverse
Like to crashes and stuff.
the stock market in
Yeah.
particular. When the stock market's going down, gold is going up. Why?
And why is that?
Because-
Because it's a safe haven.
What?
Right? Because it's a safe haven.
Well, it's
and that's-
perceived as a safe haven.
Well, either way, though, perception is reality, though, when it comes to buying things. Because, like, meaning if people are
Take
getting out
money-
of stocks, they're going to have money to use. They're going to probably put it towards something that they consider a safe haven, like gold.
Okay, but take your money out of the stock market, meaning if you have investments and the investments are going down in value, you can take your investments and put them into just cash in your trading account, and you've stopped the deceleration or the shrinkage of the value of your assets. If you put it in gold, you're doing the same thing, but in a down market, the value of gold is going up. It's going up in U.S. currency, by the way. So what you're gaining is the type of
Sure.
thing that you're hedging against in the first place.
I'm not doubting like the current system exists. I mean, it's obviously like the dollar is the most dominant, currency
But
and
you can
unit
have
of
gold
exchange.
against the yuan. You can have gold against the
Yeah.
Australian dollar. It doesn't matter what currency.
Well,
Currency in general.
It's how much the economy finds it worth it. Like it's basically just saying that if it's worth $36, then it's worth the same amount of trading that piece of gold to someone for something that's worth $36. You know what I mean?
Should be.
Like just meaning in like basic like right now terms.
But if you tried to trade somebody gold for this microphone, and let's say this microphone is a $50 microphone and they have $50 of gold, the person selling the microphone is going to say, yeah, I want a little more edge.
You might be surprised. Podcasters like gold.
The reason is they're taking something they can't do much with. They can only store it to something they're
No, they
giving
can
you
sell-
that
you can
has
sell it
value
super
right
easily.
now.
You
That
can sell it
microphone
right downtown.
that microphone has value right now. Well, then the person with the gold can go sell it downtown.
If they want to, yeah.
Right.
Or they
But
can
the
keep it.
reason they're trying to trade their gold
Build
for
their
your
savings.
microphone is your microphone provides a value to them
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. And so the person with the microphone is going like, well, the microphone has a little more value than the $50 of gold. I want $60 of gold. And the person with gold is probably like, well, okay. And they shave off a $10 extra worth of gold. I'm just telling you, that's the way it would probably work in a free market.
I would never disgrace my gold coins by shaving off parts of them.
Oh, so you're going to actually just trade? Oh, here's $1,000 gold
Yeah.
coin. I'd like change, please.
No, it's like that's
What
the
are you
thing.
gonna get
I
change
get
in?
little gram coins
I'll give you
typically
1,000 microphones.
because I only buy them at like 50. Or I haven't bought it in a long time, but when
Yeah.
I was buying at like $50 at a time. So I was
Yeah.
buying like little grams or 2.5 grams, and then I had a 7.5 gram at one point. That's one of the ones I ended up selling. So, or no, it was 10 point. I think it was over 10 grams. I don't remember how much it was, but that was my prized possession for a few years. And then when I moved to Boise, I needed it. So,
Well, and was the market generally going up or going down during the time you owned that piece of gold?
I made money actually even after
Was
selling
the
it at spot
market
price.
generally going up or generally going down?
Generally, technically up.
The market was generally technically
Oh, actually,
going up.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the market was generally going up, I would wager that the value of your gold was generally going down.
Well,
You
yeah,
may
yeah.
have made money
yeah.
on it because you bought smart and sold smart.
Well, in comparison, I agree because like I agree that like they're part of the issue is like all of the that the money printing that's going on. I'm not saying that it equated to that amount, like right. The economy was booming, but they're also increasing the amount of dollars in the economy while they're doing this with the different bailouts and the quantitative easing they've still been doing since 2008. And
that's
the
all
value
stuff
of
that
gold
happens
doesn't go up
peripherally.
despite the fact that they're printing more of it. And I definitely, that's why I'm saying that I do recognize that the government will have some hand in the unit of exchange, and that is in large part what gives it its value, especially because you have to pay taxes in dollars and all that sort of stuff. But I do think that at a certain point, that power will become majorly diminished if we're not careful. And I feel like they've been rather reckless with it. And it could get to a point where people do want to abandon the dollar. I actually do. I actually see a lot of. I used to kind of be one of those guys who's like gold, fuck the cryptocurrencies. But I actually do see some utility in it these days. I've never like really bought cryptocurrency other than like Dogecoin for fun. I actually made like $150.
We're jumping around here a little bit.
Yeah. No, this is a tangent. Yeah, that's
but coming back to the topic of why do I not believe in gold?
Yeah.
And it's not that I think gold has no value. It's just I'm not going to invest in gold because it is a static, non-growing thing.
But isn't it just so nice to hold?
Well, that's fine.
I feel powerful when I hold it.
Platinum or whatever this stuff is your mom gave me. What?
I said, my precious.
I can't hear you.
I said, my precious.
You're precious. Yeah, or my precious.
Because seriously, it is something that I am intentionally keeping out of the market in some sense. I don't really want to use it as a
making your
unit
4%
of
in a money market fund. You're purposely not making a 0.5% in a CD.
What I like about it in part though is just
And
that
you
it's a
also
store
have
of
an
wealth.
illiquid asset.
It's not really that illiquid. Like I know what you were saying, but
to cash it in, you have to pay
not that hard.
somebody a little vig, a little something to do the transaction.
But honestly, I was shocked when I went to sell it. I thought I was going to lose money because of that, and actually, it was like $4 in total out of my $1,000 transaction.
Okay,
He really like I might have found a good guy. Me and him hit it off, so maybe he was just hooking me up. But I got exactly I feel like what that gold was worth to me that day. I was very satisfied because I was going in there about to sell my soul. I felt so ashamed having to go in there.
Well, if it was $4 out of 100, that'd be 4%. So you said it cost you $4
About I don't
for $1,000 transaction.
Yeah.
So that's 0.4%. So 0.5% is what you gave up in the value of that gold at that moment. Doesn't matter what you bought it for or sold it for, but you gave up 0.5%.
Yeah.
Just like if you go and do a cash advance on a bank, they charge you 3% to take the money out, right?
Yeah.
So you have to think about those transaction fees to convert into something that, in your case, you needed cash, U.S. currency. So you had to pay it's a bid ask, right?
Yeah.
So you had to pay something.
And as an investment, I actually, because you're looking at it strictly as an investment, I can understand also where you're coming from, because I will say a lot of my motivation for gold is that I feel like it's something that, I think I'm not the only person in America who has trouble saving money. Statistically, it's most people. And I feel like when I have gold, I know that I have that backup. It saved me at one point. It really did. And I would have spent that if I had it in dollars, because I'm not super responsible with saving money, but I am pretty responsible saving gold typically, historically.
So here's an example of how I think you can do something similar, but you'll probably be more profitable at it. Find things that you need in your life and buy them cheaply. It's buy low, sell high. It's
arbitrage for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So example of arbitrage for me was, I bought that rack for the back of my truck that had the tent on it, right? Well, I was looking around because I wanted to get a rooftop tent, and I found this set. I paid $1,100 for the pair and decided it wasn't something for me. but I got it at a good value. I ended up selling the tent for 1,700,
No, that's
and
badass.
then I
and I've-
sold the rack for 700. So I sold it for 24, bought for 11. That's $1,600 profit in certainly less than a year, 6 months.
Yeah, no, I've
So-
always respected that you've been able to do that because that is actually really impressive, and that's great
But
salesmanship.
you can
and
do
everything.
that
Yeah, yeah.
yourself,
Mhm.
right? You can do
Yeah.
that with anything.
And I'm
You
not.
can buy-
Well, I'm talking about like when you're actually trying to save money and keep it in the bank. I'm saying just having more income doesn't necessarily mean that I save more money. That historically is also true.
No, but what you're doing when you buy gold, you're sequestering value so
Yeah.
that you don't spend it otherwise.
Yeah.
When I bought that rack and tent system, I sequestered money into those items. They just physically sat here, no different than gold, right?
Sure.
And then when I decided I didn't need it or I wanted to do something different, I did another exchange and profited from it. And now I have more than I started with. So my asset, which was the money originally and became the tent and the rack, appreciated. And I have way more than gold would have appreciated in
Yeah,
that same amount
sure.
of time. So I'm going back to your original question, why do I not believe in gold? And it's because I feel there are other mechanisms by which I can sequester money
Sure.
and have it earn money. And that can be as simple as the CDs, money market checking accounts. You could even make microloans to your friends.
I think you might have hit something on the head in the beginning that I initially was saying is not my main motivation, but I think is a rather important one. I lost my train of thought.
Well, if you like shiny gold, you can buy jewelry and you've sequestered your money into
Yeah.
that. And if that gold and
Oh, I was going to
diamonds
say,
and all
no,
that-
I remember. I'm sorry. Is the Armageddon thing. I do think on some level, the idea is that, people are worried about things going to shit. And I think for me, a lot of that does harken back to my initial introduction into economics. My first class I ever took actually talked about Zimbabwe and how they had faced hyperinflation. And then obviously, I ended up dating Emma, married my wife, Emma, from Zimbabwe, and her grandpa, born and raised there, lived there his whole life, until like the last decade or so.
Oh yeah, you can buy $1 trillion of Zimbabwean money
Yeah.
right now for like $5.
And and they would say they have even said, I think it was Henry who was saying that the dollars themselves were worth less than the toilet paper because people actually needed to use toilet paper. They didn't need those dollars because
Yeah.
they weren't worth anything.
Yeah.
Which is just insane. And that's obviously an extreme example. And I'm not saying that we're doing money printing to that degree because it's a way different situation. But I do think that there is a concern to be had about those things. And I think you'll never really fully see it coming, even if you have all the information. And, because Henry, for instance, he's a smart guy. He was a banker there. He was a successful guy there. And I don't think he necessarily saw it coming. He said to me one time, actually, speaking about gold, he had a 1 ounce gold rand coin. I don't know what the rand, maybe that's the African word for dollar or whatever. And it was 1 ounce, and that would be worth, I think at the time he was telling me would have been worth like $1,200 today, and we had wished he had kept that. But he didn't. And,
Well,
unfortunately,
he turned it into money, and he needed that money to pay rent or pay the water bill or whatever it is. There's a difference between.
But what I'm
it's
saying
like
though, Dad, is
OpEx
even his
versus
house
CapEx.
ended up being not worth very much because of the crash, but the gold would still be worth something. Meaning gold is universal. Your house is really only as valuable as it is in the country
You
that it's
can't
in.
live in gold, right?
Sure, but you can buy property with gold.
But then you don't have the gold. You have the property.
Then you now have your new property. But I'm just saying, and then
Well,
you
he had a property, but it went to shit because the economy went
yeah,
to
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
You can't have it both
I get what you're
ways.
saying. This is cyclical reasoning. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
But
So you either have enough excess value or assets in your life that you can afford to stockpile gold.
yeah,
Whether you're a
and that's
government or
what
a
I'm
person
saying
or
is the
whatever.
goal. Is like and to me, like that's something that you can kind of.
I
leave
don't
for your
have a bunch
grandkids,
of
I guess.
reserve money just sitting around doing nothing that I can
That's
put
true.
into gold.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have assets.
Yeah.
My business is an asset. I don't really need to invest further into it. And it's producing. And as long as the internet is around, and maybe someday it won't, the assets that I have in the internet business will continue to have value, both in monthly income value, but also as an asset, I can still sell it just like you would sell gold. I can sell the underlying asset and cash out, so to speak. And maybe then I'll have enough to put some in gold or into municipal bonds or whatever. But right now, everything I have is going into life.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And yeah, no disrespect to that at all.
Yeah.
I guess I would just say that I think if you look at it like kind of the way you look at your poker chips, you kind of look at those as somewhat of a store of value, not exactly as a
Absolutely.
collector's
I
item.
was going to use that as an example as well.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about putting value in gold. I'm putting value in clay.
Yeah.
It's stupid clay. The
But it
value
has as much value as the people who want them.
Yeah, well, the same with gold, right?
Yeah.
If gold has a demand, whether it's for electronics or jewelry or a hedge against inflation, whatever you want to call it, as long as it has that value, people want to buy gold. As long as there's a scarcity of the chips that I'm looking for or collecting, my chips will
Scarcity
continue-
and demand. And that's what I was going to say about
Yeah.
gold, though, is that if you took that same application, you have enthusiasts like me who are, I wouldn't say I'm quite as much of an enthusiast of gold as you are of poker chips, but I definitely like them and like gold, and I probably will collect it my whole life, different forms and everything. And I probably will look into collectors, ones that aren't worth as much in terms of their bullion as they are to buy. And
Well, the chip,
but there's
market,
a broader base there, like I think,
course.
because chip collecting is pretty niche. Whereas I think, at least, I don't
right,
know.
but
how big
I'm
that
not
is, but-
using my chips as a hedge against inflation.
I know.
I'm collecting chips because I
Yeah.
enjoy them.
Sure. Yeah.
And I have a little bit of an obsessive quest to check off the little list of all the Nevada casinos.
But you have to admit, though, you also have found quite a bit of joy in the fact that you're able to find these chips for a good deal, and then
some of them I've way overpaid.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gold's 36 a gram, right?
That's what we
Would you go out
Which is
today
disappointing.
and pay $72 a
my
gram?
argument.
For
70
gold.
for no, absolutely not. You've done double.
Yes,
Dang, Dad, you really wanted that chip.
because it's one of two. There's
Oh,
only
wow.
two known.
Wow. Okay. Your eyes got crazy there for a minute. That's awesome, though. Actually, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're one of only two people who
Yeah.
has that. Yeah.
And actually, just
Is the other one
Mom
in a
knows
museum?
this. A couple of weeks ago, there was an auction, and there was a chip. It was from the Happy Buddha Club here in Reno, and I think there's only 6 of those that are known to 6 chips, 6 $5 denomination chips that are known to exist. And the bidding started at like $180. The book value, and by the way, just like gold has sort of a spot price, a universally accepted or worldly accepted price, chips, there's a
Book value,
publishing, well, there's a publishing company who track auctions and eBay auctions and things like that. And when they see certain valuable chips go up or down in sales, actual sales, they adjust the value of the chips in their book that they publish every 1 or 2 years. That book, that guide, is used by, if you're into Nevada collecting Nevada chips, you use this book as your basic guide of value. It doesn't mean that people always pay low book or high book or mid book or whatever. It's just a guide. So this Happy Buddha Club had a book value of, I think it was U. They go alphabetically, and U is like a $500 book value, right? So I was willing to spend originally up to $2,000 to get this chip. That's 4 times book value. Now,
This goes against everything you've ever told me my entire life.
but
by
here's
the way.
why. The book value is by these 3 guys who inherited the book from publishers from before. That particular chip hadn't been updated in a long time. Why? Because none have been sold in 10 or 15. So it still had a book value of $500 because that, 10,
'Cause
15
no one was
years
selling
ago, that's what it probably sold for in some auction or exchanged hands.
No one had it on the
So,
market.
Those of us who are in the collecting world know that this is a very, very rare chip. And just because it has a book value of 500 doesn't mean that's what one should pay for it.
Sure.
So
This
anyway,
is the one that is one of 2.
no, this is one of 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Still.
So this
good
auction
ratio.
comes up. It's literally the only chip in the whole catalog for the auction that I really, really want. I have some others that I can upgrade, and I did win some of those, and others that I just got for fun, like Meeks Bay Resort, which is technically in California, but they did have some illegal gambling going on, I think. And these chips are from that thing. And they're
that's
not
cool.
particularly valuable, but it's a neat set, a
Yeah.
little bit of history. So anyway, I bought the set.
Stealing from the Indians like a true American.
No, this is in the 80s.
I'm just joking.
No, the Indian casinos didn't come around. Well, they might have been around then.
Oh, really?
I guess they did.
I
Yeah.
just assumed they were always around. I guess didn't
No.
really occur to me.
No. California had to pass laws allowing.
Hey, kind of cool
It's
side
not a
story.
section of history I'm really familiar with.
Kind of cool side story here. Angus's casino's doing so well
Mhm.
that he's actually able to buy. They're buying back a bunch of like their lands, like their original lands
Yeah.
that were, because the reservations they pushed them off to
Sure.
a different set of land,
Yeah.
and they're actually making so much money they're able to buy that land back,
I think most of the casinos have been doing that or trying to do that.
which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, kind of comes full circle. There's a way to
Yeah,
do,
I think,
reparations.
the problem
guess.
is you have so much development that, what do they call that? Not islanding, but you have all these, you're not going to buy back probably property where there's a housing development.
Yeah, that's true. But I
It's gonna
think
have to be
most of it's all
undeveloped open
public land. So I think he said they bought back like 95% of their land,
You can't buy back public land.
or not. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know how they got it. I don't know how they got it.
No, they're buying privately
Well,
owned land
I wonder
that
if
used
it-
to be Indian lands.
Yeah, that's just weird to me because I can swear he said something like 95%. I might be wrong, but
Well, 95% of the tribal territory probably is still open land.
yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just no roads to it or something.
But anyway, back to chips.
Yeah, back to chips. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's all in the casino thread. It
I
kind
know,
of
I
fits.
know, I know.
It kind of works.
So this one chip, one of six, the bidding got above my 2,000 mark relatively quickly.
Wow.
And so
Wow. How many of you are there? I just can't imagine there's
Thousands.
another person like as nerdy about chips as you.
No. There are 10,000 people that have signed into this place called the Poker Chip Forum. There's like 1,500 members of these individual chip collectors that are active anyway in the Casino
How much?
Collectibles Association.
600.
No, I think there's about 1,500 active
1,500,
members. There might be a lot more that are registered, but anyway. So Mom didn't know this, but I actually placed a bid for $3,600 on this one chip. It's a book value 500.
She's gonna know now.
No, she does know now,
Oh, okay.
but she didn't know when I placed it. And then I kind of mentioned to her, oh, by the way, I might be having to write a check for this amount for this auction. And she about shit a brick because we're going on vacation. I'm spending money on the Jeep. There's other things there's expenses. So luckily I have a second job to keep her in the lifestyle that she
Did you end up
likes.
getting it?
No, I got
Okay.
outbid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was the second highest bidder.
You nerds are hardcore. You guys are like
Yeah,
Marvel fans.
He bid 3,800. The guy that won it. I don't know who it was. I thought I knew who was bidding against me because I have one person who's kind of my nemesis in this Nevada collectibles. His name's Richard. Really cool guy. He's been over to the house and we've chatted about chips. I see him every year. We've had dealer tables next to each other in the past. And he's the guy, his short list is almost the same as my short list of what we're looking for. And I thought for sure that he and I were bidding against each other. And when we got up to that 3,600 level, I called him on the phone and said, hey, Richard, are you bidding against me on the Happy Buddha? Because it doesn't make sense for us to sit here and continue doing this. Let's just, you and I hash out what we're going to agree to
Collusion.
and kind of, that's fine.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Good stuff.
and had I thought about calling him
Fight the
$2,000 earlier, right? One of us could have had it for a lot less. Like I could have said, hey, look, I'll stop bidding, but I'd like your Nevada club from South Lake Tahoe, right? Well, knowing that I would have gone up to almost 4,000 and he might have gone up to 4,000, I'm saving him a couple grand. Go ahead and
Sure.
give me that $200 or $300 chip, right?
Yeah.
As an incentive to get the hell out.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said, no, he goes, I already have one of those. I'm like, damn, then I don't know who's bidding against me.
Oh.
So, and the way this auction works is they do a soft close. So you put your bid in. I always put my bids in like an hour before he's going to close the auction. Because if I'm not the winning bidder, he calls back and says, hey, you got outbid. It's currently this, or it's, 250 to you. Do you want it? And I just text him back and say yes. And if somebody else has bid like a lot more, he goes, now it's 350 to you. Do you want it? Yes. It's 450 to you. Do you want it? Yes. Okay, you're the high bidder. I'll call you back if you get outbid. And
Yeah.
this can go on for days.
Auctioning used to be such a show that I hadn't realized that it had developed to such a degree in the modern century. Because you used to
I
you used
actually
to hear like $150, you know the
Yeah, and I do. There are those auctions I've participated in as well.
oh
In
they
fact,
still exist.
Yeah, like that second slot machine, the red one with the
Where did they get the guy from the 1920s?
That's 1930s. For that
1930s.
guy.
Yeah.
But that one was a live bid. I was online, but it was a live auctioneer, and there were people in the room who were holding up paddles. I was logged in remotely and just bidding on their electronic platform, and so I won that one that way.
So
There's been several auctions I've done that way, and the Betty Boop statue I have, that was actually live. I was actually in the audience at the Hot August Nights last year with Jake. That's when I won that one.
yeah.
I don't remember if Tim was there. I think Tim was there the next day. I can't remember. But anyway, that's
Lots
how I
of
got
good
that one.
memories
So,
of that family.
yeah, auctions are all over the place in terms of how they do them. eBay is an auction,
Yeah.
except eBay is a hard close, right?
Hey, before we stray too far from the topic, I have
Sure.
one last question. I think this will actually wrap us up pretty good
Mhm.
if you're feeling pretty satisfied. Is there anything you want to touch on that you think we missed about gold and its inherent value and why everybody should buy it?
Well, no, I mean, the short answer is if you like gold, knock yourself out. I don't care that other people like gold. It's just not something I'm going to invest in.
Yeah. Okay. I'm satisfied with that answer. So my last question, just to kind of stay on theme and bring everything together here, is
You
you
just don't
often,
like talking about chips.
what's that?
You just don't like talking about
No,
chips.
this is going to involve chips.
Oh,
yeah.
well, then by
yeah.
all means,
Yeah,
continue.
no. This is just much more me oriented, which is the way I like it.
Lame.
So my question for you is, since we were talking about gold and how it's like a store of value and kind of we compared it to chips and everything, when you think about you in the chip collecting community and different frustrations you might have come across while trying to get those chips and everything, you've often said to me and Steven that you're going to blow all your money on chips and that's going to be our inheritance or whatever. That's your ongoing joke. But you've always also said that it's true. And so if that is true, I'm sentimental. I'll keep them forever. But I also don't really have that chip collecting spirit necessarily.
Right.
And I wonder if to you as a chip collector, you would find it better to put them on the market or keep it as a store of value.
I've already made a list of auction houses that should you and your brother decide you just want the value of them and not the chips, I will point you to a place that you will get a really good price for the chips from people who are still interested in collecting them.
Sure.
You will have to lose 20% or so in value because the auction house takes a percentage. You can always go to the private collectors, which I can give you those names.
Well,
as
no. My question isn't about how can I get rich off of your chips. I'm saying that from your like moral perspective as a chip collector, like, do you think if I had all those chips and I have no real value in having them, would I be doing a disservice to the chip collecting community by keeping that away from them if there's only one of two available to them now and the other one might be in a museum somewhere? Who knows?
No, in a way, if you have chips that are only one of two, and you will have several, because I already have several of those. Some of them are prototypes, but that's a separate discussion. By you having it, that means there are fewer available in the world to be traded or to be bought or sold. And so you sort of keep the value up. If, like, for instance, there's one chip I have.
No, I'm not even talking about the value, meaning like, because I'm sure when you're going to buy chips, you would love it if you didn't have to pay all that money. Right. And so I'm just saying that, like, do you think me sort of intentionally keeping it off the market, not because I'm trying to, I guess I did ask store of value, but I guess my real question is keeping it off the market, am I doing a disservice to the chip collecting community just in the fact that I'm basically, because what I'm saying is I would literally keep it forever, Dad. I keep stuff from Papa Bill, Papa Lauren, just to keep it.
There are dozens, hundreds, whatever. Well, every collector, if they have a collection, they're not selling it. Therefore, they're keeping it off the market, right? So,
but they have value in that collection other than just the sentimental of it. Like, meaning because I'm just keeping it a token that, sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
It doesn't matter what your reasons or motivations are. Some people collect chips for the money. Some people collect chips because they like to look at them. Some people collect chips, put them in boxes, stick them in a safe, and they never ever look at them, but they know they have them. So
I guess it would go back on the market eventually, because eventually one of my kids or grandkids or whatever, they're not going to keep
Well,
thousands of
eventually
chips.
somebody's going to die,
Yeah.
and whoever inherits that collection is going to say, I'm not interested in keeping these. And they will find a way to get rid of the collection. There are guys
I always
in our
find a way to
club
have a secret
who buy
storage unit from Emma.
collections. They try to buy them for 10 cents on the book value dollar. And so they can turn around and sell them because they will sell maybe 50 a week on eBay, or they'll go to all the conventions and set them out on a table. But those people will find the value in buying low and selling high. What I'm saying to you is it doesn't matter whether you or why you're keeping them by not, if you had a bunch of one kind and you're keeping them off the market and everybody thought there was only one, but there's really 10,000 of them and you had the other 9,999, then you keeping them keeps that one chip artificially more valuable, whether it circulates or not.
Yeah.
Right. The perceived value is great. If you were to suddenly start dumping
so you're kind of
chips,
helping them in a lot of ways because they want the value to go up too.
right,
Once they're
or at
already a
least
collector.
keep its value.
Yeah.
They don't want it to go down. But let's say you suddenly on eBay, hey, I have 1,000 of these chips, and you don't really know what the book value is. You say, I'll sell these 1,000 chips for $100. The guy that thinks he's got a $5,000 chip is now going, holy shit. He either better buy up your supply to maintain his value so he can store the rest away,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or buy yours and destroy them,
There's a lot of thought that goes into
forcing the value. Well, I was about to give you an example earlier, and I'll finish that out. So I have, there's a chip. It's a $25 chip from the Desert Inn Casino in Contact, Nevada, not Vegas, which everybody knows about Desert Inn there. This is the Desert Inn in Contact, Nevada, tiny little town. I don't even think it exists anymore. The town of Jackpot is the nearest town now. Anyway, we have the order card, the original order card that we know only 50 of these chips were ever ordered to be made. So that's all that have ever existed.
Yeah.
I own 38 of them.
That's crazy.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So there's only 12 more in the world.
Yeah.
The book value
might
in
have
the
been
catalog
destroyed
says they're
along the
worth
way.
1,100 to
Thrown through the
1,600.
washing machine, thrown in the trash, in the dump. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. You want to hear the rest of the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I like to interrupt. It's kind of my
I
thing.
can see that. So the book value for each of those chips is $1,100 to $1,600, right? Now,
Whoa, really?
yeah,
Dang.
because there's only 50 made.
Still, that's crazy.
And until I
the
got,
1 out of 6 one was only going for $2,000 originally, right?
well, it was only going for 500. The book value was 500.
For a 1 out of 6 chip, yet the ones that you have.
No. One of 6 known. They might have produced 2,000 of them,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
right? So if there's only 6 known, but there were 2,000,
I see what you're saying. And
5,000
that goes back
made,
to your example
right?
earlier. Okay.
I'm saying there were only 50 made. There can never be more than 50 ever existing in the world. And I have 38 of them. Prior to me getting those 38, people only knew about a handful that existed. And there can only be 12. And you got to figure somebody stepped on one in the casino at some time or rubbed a cigarette in it, which a lot of people did back in the old days and ruined it. So
you actually know because of that card too, that the authenticity of
Yep.
of them only having made 50.
Exactly. So the question is, I have 38 of these now, and everybody in the collecting world knows I have these 38 because it was kind of a public. The guy that bought them originally in Idaho, by the way, at a junk shop, he bought a box of them.
Oh, heck yeah.
And
Lots of treasures out
and
in
he knew
Idaho.
what they were,
Not
and
just
he
potatoes.
offered them. He was trying to sell all of them to people, and of course, everybody in the collecting world, well, with so many of them now, they're not worth 1,100 each. I'm not going to pay 1,100 each. And he goes, I'm not even asking for that. And I did buy them very, very cheaply. And I've already made my money back because I've sold one and traded 2 for chips that I really, really wanted.
Yeah.
And I got about book value for them, right? So I've gotten the original investment back. So I could sell each chip for $100 if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And every $100 chip I sold is 100 in profit. And somebody was trying to tell me that my chips are really not worthless, but worth far less.
Of course they're going to try to do that.
And
I hate
of
people
course
like that.
they want to buy them. And I said, well, they're only
it's a
worth
potential
less
buyer.
if I'm trying to
That's just a
dump
good
them all,
strategy.
like this guy did. I'm not trying to dump them all. I said I might sell maybe one a year, right? So
Sure.
only one collector per year is
Smart,
going to
yeah.
have access to
Love
my
it.
38.
Yeah.
In addition to that, if you really want to insist on that, and if the collecting world says, yeah, man, your chips are only worth $100 each now. Okay. Then I will publicly get a hammer and I will smash 35 of them. Now what do you think, fuckheads? Right?
Dang, Dad, you're hardcore.
Well, I mean, if that's the way they want to treat them,
No, sure.
then I can increase or maintain the value of my investment by destroying the ones that are supposedly bringing that down.
So I think I'm missing my own question here. What I'm trying to essentially, let's pretend they're not worth anything. If at the end of your life you
How
had,
dare you?
well, hypothetically. It's
Okay,
all
we're
hypothetical.
pretending.
Don't worry. The chip market still alive and functioning. Okay, so if at the end of your life, like you had a certain subset of things that I could keep to hold on to that
Yeah.
would sort of memorialize your life, would chips be part of that? And keep in mind, like the things that I find very sentimental are things that I found that were valuable to the people who I'm holding onto them for. Like that picture of Reagan or of Papa Bill with Reagan. I'm not necessarily a Reagan fan or anything like that. That seemed like that was very valuable to him. We had a lot of good conversations about it. And so I kept that. And
On its own, it's memorabilia as well. It has
It is.
value in the autograph market.
well, yeah, but I mean, and that's the thing. I would like, and that's my point though. Is like, that's not registering with me. Like, don't get me wrong. If you don't want your chips and you're gonna give them to me, sure, I'll sell them. I'm happy to take. Absolutely, not ashamed at all. But I'm saying that I do like the sentimental thing. I probably noticed in every office I've had, I decorate it with those things and put up like the news article of Papa Bill's dad, Harold, when he developed the Highway 80 coming to Reno from Chico, which I always feel like is a crazy omen about, our lives, is that, he built the road that kind of connected us when I was still in Chico. And, yeah, just like sentimental
that
things
80
like
doesn't
that.
go to Chico, right?
What's that?
80 does not go to Chico.
Well, sorry. Okay, but you know what I mean. It's you have to. Well, you don't have to, but it's the best way to get to Chico is to go over 80 and then on to 20 and then
Yeah.
Yes. I have read the road signs at this point. It did take me several years. I will say Google Maps is so convenient. You just look up every 5 hours when it says turn left.
Well, going back to the memorabilia and the sentimentality, I would say this. I feel most people feel this way, that their stuff has no sentimental value, but they may place sentimental value on their ancestors.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, and especially
So-
people like me. And I'm not
so-
the only person who's interested in ancestry. It's actually I know I have
Right.
some friends who are also interested in their
Right.
ancestry and stuff.
But ancestry can just be information. Like, isn't it neat that we know our
yeah.
fathers, all the way back to Thomas Sherwood of England, right?
But
That's
people
neat.
value it more when you have like a news article from that time. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I do at least.
Okay, but you can take a picture of a news article these days.
Yeah, but
do
I
you
still
have the actual
That's what I'm saying.
sheepskin that was printed by Gutenberg?
So I'm saying I actually have the actual. Well, they're yours actually. I've just been occupying them, or I've been what would you call it? Hoarding them, curating them. Yeah, I suppose all of Uncle Clyde's stuff
Yeah.
because I find that stuff fascinating.
Right.
And it's been actually really cool, like looking through that and actually finding out that, at first you think he's evil because you see all the Bohemian Grove stuff, and then actually reading all of like the different letters to him and stuff, he sounds like a good guy from what I can tell. And that's kind of exciting. Even if he was a bad guy, it's not like I necessarily knew him. I just like to kind of know that family history and kind of see what people have done. But more importantly, it's that I know that stuff was important to him. And that's like why, I mean, that was all of, I would say, the coolest shit he had, letters from presidents and all that sort of stuff. And I guess what I'm saying is, at the end of your life, would chips be something that is like what you, because you're not a very materialistic person. Like the only thing I could think of is your Jeep.
I'm trying to answer your
and
question.
that I will sell immediately.
I'm just waiting for your question to stop.
Okay, stopped.
So, to answer your question, I don't care what you do with my stuff. I know people.
I'm not asking if you care. I'm saying what would, for me, my sentimentality, what would embody you most? Would chips be part of that? Because it does feel like to me
Only
at
you
this
can
point,
answer that.
I feel like
Only
it would.
you can answer
which
what
makes
you
me think I should keep them. And Emma will kill me.
You can answer the question of what you think was important to remember in my life. What do you remember about me in my life?
I would definitely keep a lot of the Sunset Net stuff, or like if you still had that desk from when I was a kid. Do you still have that? You don't have that, do you?
I don't think so.
No. Well, I'll keep. Oh, you know what? I would definitely keep is that
The orange chair.
No, the desk. Wait, what orange chair? Oh gosh, no. But the desk that Papa Bill and Mammy Sue wrote Bill plus Sue on.
Oh, Willie and Sue's. Yeah, that's the workbench out
Your
in
workbench.
the
You
garage.
still have it after all
Yeah.
these years. It's crazy. That
Yeah.
thing must be from the what, 90s,
Yeah.
80s?
And mom wants me to get rid of it every chance she.
I'm sure, and I will pass on that tradition and have Emma mad at me every
Yeah,
year.
there you go. So, the thing that I find interesting about what people find sentimental, I have a friend who has furniture like an end table that was her mom's, and she has it in storage, and it's fallen apart, and it's beat up, and I said, why don't you get rid of this? And because she should get rid of the storage unit. She could use, don't mention any names, but she could use the money more than she could use the storage or these things that are in storage, right? And she's like, but this was my mom's. And my answer to her was, okay, your mom bought one at Sears, and so did 10,000 other people. There's nothing about this piece of furniture other than the fact that your mom owned it that should have any sentimental value in my view. I understand where she's coming from, but I don't think it's a rational choice to make about that type of an item, because it will never be worth anything to anybody else, right?
Well, that
it is
wouldn't
purely sentimental value. My chips have value to many other people. You look at them as a sentimental thing because I collected them, because I enjoyed collecting them, and that's fine. But they also have intrinsic value in the collecting world. If you were to say, oh, this pair of scissors sitting in my dad's desk drawer, has sentimental value.
Sure.
Think about all the paper he cut with it.
Well, but that's kind of what I'm trying to get at is like, what are those things that like kind of meant so, much to you throughout your life? Like, I think a lot of people get to the end of their life, and most people, when they're that are their family members or whatever, don't necessarily ask them all those questions that they might want to after they pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the things that you discover, like a lot of the things that I found out about Uncle Clyde, I don't know if anybody ever knew, because it's all just kind of private, communications.
Stuff he stored away, and
Stuff he
until
stored
somebody
away.
like you or me looks through it, you're like, holy cow, look at this.
And if he was
So-
alive, even if he offered, it's not like I would be like, yeah, let me read through your letters from your friends.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, guess what? I can actually answer that question for you, because I have boxes of stuff from my childhood.
Really?
In my working years. I have all the journals.
I've never seen that. Where is that
I
stuff?
know, because
keep it
hasn't come up.
Keep it safe.
So I have books, like, little notebooks you'd use in college.
Yeah.
I have those when I worked at Wise Technology. Every day I took notes on everything I did, programs I wrote.
I think I saw those when I was a kid. Are those
You
those
might
ones with like the gray and like kind of, it looks like
Greenish
static on a
green.
TV kind of? Yeah.
So
I've
I have
seen those.
those. I also have all of the Franklin planners, which are what we now just use calendars in our phones. But I have every appointment, every class I took in college.
Yeah, I'm glad you kept that. That's definitely
stuff.
stuff I would keep.
So you can go see what homework pages I was assigned in college
Yeah.
for every day I was in school. You can see, I still have my address book from when I was younger. Like, now we have contact lists, right?
Uh-huh.
I have an actual address book with friends and family members and crossed out numbers and new numbers and all that kind of stuff.
So I know I said I would wrap it up earlier, but I want to wrap it up one more time with one more question here.
How long have we been going? Where's the timer?
27 minutes. We
55 minutes, 56 minutes. We just hit 56 minutes.
All right, then we're perfect. Yeah, we're almost to an hour. That's the
Okay.
perfect first podcast. So I guess my last question, just, you've already in a lot of ways retired, or I mean, I know you're still actively working full time and everything, but meaning you don't have to, like, and you kind of are doing it more for your leisure. My question is, what would you say throughout your career, throughout like your young adult life, where you're kind of striving for things, what would you say is like your crowning achievement that you're most proud of?
Discovery and recurring revenue.
Do you want to dive into that a little bit?
Sure. When you work in a job, you have to work an hour and you get paid for your hour or your week or your year, whatever your salary or wage is based on. Recurring revenue, you earn once, but you get paid for it over and over and over again. So in the internet business, the way our internet business works, we sell a customer once, and then we've sold a subscription. It's just like in the old days, you would sell a magazine subscription. That's a little bit different in the sense that you have to produce something every month to send to that. In our case,
Well, you're still kind of producing, it's just in the background. Like, it's still being created for them in a way, right?
the internet.
Yeah.
I don't create.
I'm not saying,
anything on
yeah,
the
I know.
internet.
I'm just saying that, like, meaning you're still offering them something, like,
I'm offering them a connection.
But yeah, anyways,
and
that's beside
support.
the point. Yeah. Mhm.
So the value add for me is that I provide technical support. I do billing and customer service, maybe upgrading, things like that. But I'm not having to every month go earn, go out and spend time earning that customer's business. If I spend time selling every month, which I don't, but if I did, whether that's through advertising, direct sales, knocking on doors, soliciting, whatever you want to call it, if I get 100 customers and I spent 40 hours a week to earn 100 new customers in a month, I don't have to go do the same thing to get the revenue for the same 100 customers. That first 100 customers is paying me in month 2, 3,
While
4,
you're
5,
building more and more and
and
more.
then I'll go get another 100 customers in month 2. Now I have 200 people paying me per month. Get another 100 customers in third month. I got 300 people per month, but I exerted the same effort each month.
Yeah.
And I can stop any time. And as long as those customers feel like they're getting good value for their money, I'm going to have revenue for the rest of my life. That's why insurance brokers, a lot of people moved from sports into insurance, right? Or from real estate into insurance, because once you sell them a policy, they just tend to renew it every year. So they get recurring revenue. And the bigger your book of business, the more you have, the more you earn each year with the same or less effort.
Okay, so
discovering recurring revenue is where it's at.
So discovering recurring revenue, that is your crowning achievement. And I think that's a great way to wrap up this podcast about gold, chips, and I guess we could put it as legacy, I suppose. That's 4 fingers. I meant to do 3. Anyways, yeah, this was a great first podcast. Thanks, Dad.
All right. You're welcome. See you for the next one.
That's right.
We're starting in 5 minutes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.